Repent. Right. Right. that's what they want. Yes, the whole place will be torn down and the grocery store will be put there. They're not gonna run a grocery store out of that building. No, when I called Historic Catch Can, and when I looked online, I could not find that. It was a historic building that can be, you know, there was nothing saying it was on the National Registry. What I'm gonna propose is we're gonna go, you know, hear public comments. After we hear public comments, go into executive session, discuss, discuss it within the council, and then come out and vote. And I wanna take everything else off the agenda. Well, and I mean, we can, I mean, I don't think K-Fox is gonna help pay to get it moved. I don't think that's gonna be the case. I mean, but well, we can put well, I mean, if we can find the funds to move it, then yeah, we can. Then we can move it. But I don't know how we can get that entire building moved. You know what I mean? I mean, we're gonna have to have somebody to look at it. I mean, my thoughts, I mean, this isn't talking to anybody, but my thought is on how to get it moved, is you cut the building in half so it's movable in sections, and then we refabricate it back together. Does that make sense? Well, it's not gonna be broken up. You're gonna cut the building in half. Well, we would have to find a place. I don't know that answer right now. Yeah. Well, it doesn't look good now. I mean, we don't have the money to put into it. I don't know. I don't know. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, well, and the potential revenue that comes from it, and the sales tax that we would get. I don't wanna say are endless, but, yeah. Rick, everybody that attended the meeting the committee meeting last week, or on the 12th or 13th, favored it. but that was just a sale, that wasn't, she's some architect. I have no idea, yeah, I just know of an architect. She's some kind of architect. Well, so, I don't know, we can discuss that with everybody else. Yeah. Um, the potential sales tax, that we would be getting, you know, it does a lot for the city. I mean, you know, as it sits right now, you know, we're gonna be trying to, you know, keep everybody employed. So, all right, people are starting to show up. Okay.
Yeah. Do we have a paper copy available of tonight's agenda?
I can try to print some, I don't know. Lori's. Tonight's agenda, what I'd like to do, guys, because I think it's gonna take up a lot of time, is do public comments, deal with this resolution, and put everything else on, and just deal with this resolution.
Just one item?
Yeah,
Sounds good to me.
You gonna try to print it off?
yeah. Sorry, I was on the phone with. Okay,
She coming?
yeah.
Okay, good. Hello. How are you doing?
Fine.
We're gonna need to find more chairs.
Yeah, out of that room.
Are we gonna move this table or just put them around this table?
We're gonna spread them out.
Hi, Sharon.
Hi. Do we have to wear masks?
And that's up to you.
Yeah, it's optional.
Yeah, that's up to you. I wanna say almost the whole
see if she can get some more. Can you get more of these here?
Yeah, they're on the paper.
She's making some. No, but
And I'll give it right back.
I don't know. Yeah. Yeah, you gotta try it.
The other question that came up to me today was if, the cameras on, but there's no microphone. Oh, was it people who were non-residents could speak, and the ordinance doesn't address it, so that was.
That might not be a non-resident, but I don't.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Hey, do you want me? Yeah, tried to catch up. He ended up with 8 screws and a plate. Yeah. And he had some difficulty during the surgery, but we got it all figured out, so he's doing way better now. Did I I think it's easiest to do it on the web. So if you go to our website, and then you convert it to books. Oh, I'm sorry. Gotcha. Yeah, yep, the very top one, in the middle of the red. You got awesome nails. Now, this one. So what you want to do is send it, there is to books. And then you can use your pencil to make notes on it if you want. And all the hyperlinks still work. Yeah, I think there's still some over there.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm working on it. Good job.
are you on it?
You guys, because we have a small area and a lot of people, we all do need to be wearing our masks. If you need one, let me know. I can get you one. But I can't space you all out 6 feet. If you know how to do that.
Yeah,
Just do them from that and put a staple in them.
doing better.
This would be my third time. Like full back. Yeah. Just if you do it from the back.
Yes. Oh, yeah, I forgot where it's in there. Yeah. I'm very thankful. Yeah.
Mr. Lynch.
I've already
Yes, you do in that cardboard box behind the counter there.
Got it? But that's what they say.
Okay, I know this is also kind of new technology for us all, but if you are able on your device, if you want to on your device, you can go to the City of Saxman website. I say click the fish, but it's a little fishy that says minutes or meetings right there on the home page. Click on that, and then you can click open the agenda and the packet on that page is loaded onto your device. Otherwise, Crystal and I will try to keep up with printing them. So the live stream is working too. Which is Eric here yet? Is Eric here yet? He was going to, I'm not sure who I got the live stream on, so I thought it is. I'm gonna plug in the microphone. Oh, I'm sorry, it's filling from my interview. So Crystal's gonna be taking the minutes. I'll help you with procedure and with technology. And then I'm gonna be taking paper minutes so that we don't miss
I
any.
saw your next. Yeah, he said he's having a baby. Congratulations.
Do you want the TV? To start? Let me know if later you're ready. I can get to the agenda page. I don't have to use my umbrella. So, were you able to talk to him? He got it. Does it just
Okay.
We're just here to observe and listen to what's going on.
let me close it on my house before I'm putting it in? How could I use it for anything in the city?
Does anybody want to print it? Printed agenda, anybody?
Oh, you, well, okay. Are you gonna use your iPad for anything else?
No.
Yes. But I'll help with some people minutes too. Yeah. And then right now, this is actually working. It's on YouTube and it's not working. Okay, Mr. Mayor, is there anything else you would like me to take care of? Let me give you one.
Would you guys like some chairs?
Okay. Is there anybody that doesn't have a mask that would like one? Okay. Oh, Miss Kennedy, did you take it out of process?
Oh, no, no,
So that we can read this and get our equipment finally before it needs to leave. I only need like 2 minutes.
So I'd like to call the Saxman City Council regular meeting to order, April 21st, 2021, at 17:36. Joe, will you open us in prayer? Yes, will you open us in prayer?
Hello, thank you. Lord, we just gathered here tonight in your wonderful Son's name. We're requesting, Lord, for your guidance and all that's being decided for this great community that you've given all the residents that live here. And I ask you, Lord, for each council member to weigh heavily on decision that's being made this evening. And I ask you, Lord, that each person is here, truly hear and understand what's being presented. Thank you, Lord, for this opportunity. And I pray, God, that your will be done here today. And just ask you, Lord, ask each person that is here that they be richly blessed just because they attended this meeting today. All this we truly pray in your wonderful Son's name. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Will you call the roll, please?
Mayor Saludo,
Here.
Vice Mayor Thomas,
Here.
Councilor McCullough, Councilor Blair,
Here.
Councilor Natcon,
Here.
Councilor Watson,
Here.
Councilor Daniels. 6 present.
Thank you. Moving on to public comments. First public comment we have is Steve Radine.
Take the mask off so you can hear me. I'm Steve Radine. I'm the fire chief for South Tongass Fire Department. We provide the contract for services for fire and EMS. I'm not here and opposed to any future growth, but I am here to voice my concern about the lack of planning and discussion between those of us who have to maintain the fire station and the apparatus for the projected project. We have to find suitable housing for the apparatus that are currently in that building so that we can maintain a good service for the citizens of Saxman. And it's going to cost money. It doesn't have to be a new building, it doesn't have to be anything fancy, but it's going to cost money. And I don't believe that the city of Saxman should be burdened with the full cost of replacement of this station, especially with the financial situation that we're all in right now. And I think that as part of the project, there needs to be serious negotiations with support from Cape Fox to provide adequate housing for emergency services, wherever it may be in the city of Saxman. The reason the station is located here is because for our insurance ratings, we have to have them situated within 2.5 miles of each other. So Station 4, Station 5, Station 1 are basically 2.5 miles between each other, which allows us to keep our low ISO rating and to keep our insurance rates lower. So it's important that we maintain the station in Saxman so that we can provide a quick response. When we respond to Saxman on fire calls, the first engine out is engine 5, which is in the city of Saxman. with the backup engines from the city and from Mountain Point. So response times would be dramatically altered if we got rid of the station or placed it in an area that is not suitable for a prompt and quick response. So I really encourage better communication from the city and hopefully engage in communications with Cape Fox so that we can all come to a collective agreement on where and how the station should go and how it should be paid for. Thank you.
Kenneth White?
Hello, everyone. Everyone knows me as Kelly for legal purposes, tax purposes, Kenneth White. So, I am here today to discuss why I believe it is in the best intentions for the city of Saxman in order to basically do this land sale. And the reason I'm expressing my concerns is on the basis, if you look at it, the fact of how I see it as that building to me is kind of the equivalent of the Confederate flag of the United States. And the reason I say that is because that building there, my grandmother was 6 years old when she first learned the English language. And she learned it in buildings similar to that one there. In that building, what they had was signs posted up. You are not allowed to practice your heathen practices. So to me, that is more of an eyesore. If you were to make that a historical building, that building there would just be more funds you would have to, one, account for, two, pour into the building in order to keep it maintained. Here in Ketchikan, we have more historic buildings per capita than anywhere else in Alaska. And anytime you make a building an historic building, you have to keep the original facade of that building. So, again, to me, it's just money that will be poured into something that I don't consider honorable or proud to basically look at. And also, to me, if you were to place a grocery store there or something of that nature or something else, this here could be something that provides the community with income. It also could be something that Saxman built, something that the Western culture and the Tlingit culture can both collaborate together in order to provide for Saxman. So that is all I had to say.
Amos Gray?
I'm on the same boat with Kelly as far as the cultural concerns go. And then I like to look at like the economic benefits for the community of Saxman. You know, if we put a grocery store there, we're not only supplying this village of Saxman with, you know, groceries, but we'd also be helping out the south side and a little bit of the north side too, like Forest Park. And I just see the tax revenue being beneficial to help maintain our roads, to maintain our water lines, to, you know, I mean, we could do grants and stuff. Those take time. That's just money that the city can accumulate and put aside for things when things do go south here in the community. And then it'd be convenient for a lot of our elders. You know, right now everybody, like my mom, when I'm not around, she has to catch a bus and she has like, you know, COPD, she has a heart murmur, all the way into town to go do some grocery shopping and come back, and it's just it's a really big trek for her, and she gets fatigued very easily, and it'd just be convenient to have a grocery store down the street that she can go and shop at. And you know, I'm not sure if, you know, the Tatsudas here would do the same thing that the old Tatsudas used to do, which would be delivery services, but that'd be also another option that worked for my mother, and it'd be just located, you know, down here. And I'd create jobs, you know, a lot of people in this community, you know, could have the potential to have a job that's just down the street, you know, help employ people here in the village. And I mean, I do have concerns with the fire department. I think that, you know, if we do build this facility, we need to have some type of plan for relocating the firehouse and making sure that everything's in compliance there, because that is important in my eyes. it'd just be good thing for, you know, the village really. That's just what I see, you know. And you don't have to drive all the way out to Safeway to go shopping, which is, ever since tax service goes down, it's just been really inconvenient, you know. It'd be nice just to have something here in the community that we can just go down the street, get what we need, and come back home. And that's all I wanted to say. I just think the economic benefits would be good for the city of Saxon. So, thank you.
Thank you. Irene Dundas?
Thank you, Mayor Saludo. Can I take off my mask? So, I am not a resident. My name's Irene Dundas, for the record. I'm not a resident of Saxman, but I am a co-owner of 5 properties in Saxman, of restricted deed lots. One is adjacent to the city hall, or to the fire department, which is a part of my grandfather's property, which is Howard, Frank Howard, who my cousin Frank is named after. But also, we also own a couple pieces of property behind the Kashak's house, and then my grandma Martha Shields' property. We're co-owners of also restricted deed land, which is given by allotted that land by the Bureau of Indian Affairs. So I don't know if you all are aware of the history of the schoolhouse. In 1894, the people of Cape Fox Village and Tongass Village decided to move from their 2 villages to Saxman. They decided that move 17 years before that move. And it wasn't because they wanted to become heathen, or they were heathens. Actually, Chief Kashak's, Chief Ebbets, Wonk, who is Tilly Cushnick's or Wilkie Cushnick's family, all moved because they wanted to be educated and Christianized, which was not anything bad in that time. They wanted to move. I don't believe in erasing the history of the city hall or the schoolhouse. I believe that is a historical building. I think to memorialize it, put up a plaque doesn't do it justice. I think that Saxman is a beautiful community. I grew up here. My father's people is from here. I am Nechariyaki. That's the highest honor that I could give to my father's people, which is my cousin Christy, Mariah, Teresa, my Uncle Harvey, my Uncle Richard, Krista. That's the highest honor I could give to you guys. Amos, you are my father's people. That's the highest honor I could give to you guys. To say that I am Nechari. I grew up here. I think to tear down the building or to take it down, I think is a shame. Cape Fox is my heart. I served on that board for 15 years. I worked for Cape Fox Corporation for 24 years. I repatriated artifacts that belong to my father's people from here. It means a lot to me. And I wouldn't come out here. I don't normally come out to Saxman's business. But I think that tearing down the building or just to memorialize it doesn't do it justice. I do believe that Cape Fox, great a grocery store. There's a lot more other places to put a grocery store. All that property behind Saxman, where the water facilities are, there is a lot more places. I don't know what your guys' plan for development of that is, but I don't know about driving up to beautiful Saxman, seeing Totem Row, and all of a sudden there's a big old parking lot and a big old grocery store. I know for myself, and maybe people might be upset with me, but I don't know if I would give up my little one parcel of my grandpa Frank Howard's property. I don't know about that, and I don't know if I would encourage my mom to do it either, or my brother. But I'm in opposition of tearing down that schoolhouse. And I don't want it to be disrespectful because we have 2 entities here. We have the city of Saxman and we have corporation. Both of them are founded by the same people. The same people. Kashakes, Ebbets, all of your guys' people. That's who your guys' line of family is from. And I just think it would be a shame. I think that Saxman, the schoolhouse, You could turn it into a historical building. There's nothing wrong with putting it in the Federal Register and making it a historic building. You can get grants from that, just somebody has to be creative and start doing it. The building, what there, the old bell was there still. I know it had some renovations, but it could still happen. I don't want it to end up or look what happened to the Kashake's house. Ishan Ohan. My Uncle Junior said that all the time. Ishan Ohan. Do you know what that means? Feel sorry for me. That's what I feel like. Feel sorry for me. And I'm not saying that me, Irene, done this, but I feel sorry for us that we can't, get it together to try to make things and build things. But I don't mind a grocery store. I just don't think it should be right there off front of Saxman, and that's the first thing you see. I believe in development. I supported the liquor store right here. I was all for that. So, anyways, that's all I have to say. Thank you. Thank you, Mayor Saludo.
Thank you. Mariah Shields?
So, I'm not one to do stuff like this, but, if you read what I read today about the building, it's actually pretty sad. And for those who might not know who Chief Kashake's is, he was the head chief of Cape Fox. And to him, what the schoolhouse meant was, just from this that I could read, was, I have 6 children and will build my home near the schoolhouse. And just that one sentence alone, along with stuff that I've learned from my grandma Benny, is that that building is historical to our people. And I am all for Saxman growing in the right direction, and I feel like tearing down stuff that we have since before we could even remember is not the right way to go about this. And I feel like it can be talked about more, since this is the first time a lot of us have heard about this decision that's trying to be made. And I'm not a resident in Saxman right now, but I do plan to be, and I really believe that it's something that needs to be addressed further, because I feel like there was a lack of respect of the research that could have been done to educate everyone else about the building, not just something like this coming up and taking people like myself, young, to process something that so fast that we barely get a say. So I came here on behalf of the young people, that I believe that with steps being taken forward with this, that more information needs to be accounted for. And I really think that the building should not get moved. I don't even believe that that building could even be moved. It is very old. What is it? How many years old?
127 years.
127 years old. So, sorry, but I think that's all I have to say. I really think that more thought should have went into this, and definitely a lot more respect from Cape Fox to the Sonia Kwan people. And I really hope that more thought goes into this. Thanks.
Thank you. Harvey Shields?
Thank you, Your Honor, council members, KPOP Board of Directors. I'm in the same boat as the ones that have spoken. I was born and raised here, 71 years. I've seen a lot of things go through that schoolhouse. From families living in there, Frank Howard, the Joneses that are all gone at this time, they've all passed on. Charles DeWitt and them, they had a elderly homes there that they took care of elderly people. And as it was stated that we lost the Chief Kashake's house. And if we lose this in here, what are we looking at? Where did this come from? Whose idea was this here? To sell what we got that we're trying to take care of. It's older than myself and all of us in here. Put it back on the table and give it more thought than to try to sell something that's been in this community way before we even got here. Have respect for something that was there and is still being used to this day. Don't dishonor who we are, starting to tear things down and putting something else up in its place. We got other ways and means to get economic development within this community and to build a store here. Sure, Tatsuda's is gone. We still got 2 stores there. I plead to the council and to Cape Fox not to let go of that schoolhouse. I don't even think it should have came to this floor here, to the people. I know there's many people that live here that know the history of the schoolhouse. We used to play ball over there before it was lived in. We lost the Salvation Army. It's up in the woods now. It's not even being used. It makes me feel bad. All the ones on the wall there, your aunts and uncles, grandparents, that's the ones we look at. They lived there, all of them. They seen it develop, come down, something else moved in. Still being used to this day. Don't dishonor this community by letting it go to a store that we don't need at this time. I love and respect this community because I was born and raised here. Sure make me feel bad that if we do, what are the people going to say in Ketchikan? What is Saxman thinking? What is the corporation thinking? All these things here, a notice should have went door to door to all the members in this community, residents and non-residents that born and raised here and lived here, to give them heads up and have a meeting upstairs on this here. Same thing with the corporation. This is important to us. This is important what was put in place before we even were all here. I say that because there's grants out there to fix it up. It's been worked on already. Keep going after it. I just say, please do not let this schoolhouse go down the way it's stated in here or any other way. All the elders that have passed on. We even had a dance practice in there when we were going to celebration. Maybe Richard knows. We're in there practicing with Joe Denny, my mom, Helen Trout, Harriet McAllister. That's the only place we had to practice at that time. So, with that being said, there are all these things that's out there. Please give the community more notice than what has been given here. Don't start losing what's in front of us at this time. Have respect for the ones where we had the city council meetings there for a lot of years, IRA, all these things. You can look at other things than to try to get rid of what we have. I thank you for your time and for hearing me. But this is who I am, and this is where I come from. This is my home. Like I said, 71 years. But I thank you for hearing me and others that have spoken and still have yet to speak. It's important to us. It's important to all of the ones who are concerned of not letting that go. Thank you.
Thank you, Harvey. Kaylee? Kaylee Evans, sorry.
I'm gonna make this really short because I'm not into public speaking, but I just wanted to voice that I'm not in that much support. No, I'm not at all in support of moving the schoolhouse from where it is right now. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Christy, then Sylvia? Christy?
I think pretty much everything I would say has been said between Irene and Uncle Harvey. I don't support it as either. We have history there. I was born and raised here. I've had to move into town, but still have property out here that we'll be developing. And to pull up into Saxman is my happy. This is my home. When I pull in here, I see the hall, and I see the city hall, the fire department, I see a totem pole, so I'm home. So, to pull in to Saxman, it just wouldn't be like home. It wouldn't. And beyond that, the stories that I've heard, the times where I was a kid and we got to ring the bell, and all the stories that my grandma Benny, that is no longer with us, has talked about. There's so many things that go with just taking away a building. This isn't just a building to us, this is a lot more. And I've talked to at least 5 people today total that didn't even know about this, that nobody knew. I called my Auntie Evelyn asking what's going on. She got mad and said, no, this can't happen, but I can't go because I'm on heart pills. And she says, well, I might get a ride down there. And I'm telling her, no, we'll voice our opinion for you because you have those heart pills. You need to not be around any kind of your feeling of sadness. And so even though she wanted to come, we talked her into staying home and just made sure and let her know that we would speak on her behalf and let you know that she's very upset about it, does not want this to happen either. And like they said, there's other places out here, and then it brings up the fire department, like he was saying, and then we got the dental suites. I know a couple of people that aren't gonna sign, that have already said strictly they will not sign it. So I think that there needs to be something where everybody's notified. Like, I feel when I live in town and things are being done and COVID's going on, I'm living COVID too. And I'm in town, I understand the KIC, the Plinkett, how the differences. But when we're in there and we see all these things going on that we don't know about, we don't hear about, that's hard. That's really hard because my cousins, my best friends growing up were my cousins. I didn't have a lot of outside cousins. I stuck up for my cousins. We all stuck up for each other. We were all on the same page. We were never divided. We were never talking bad about each other. We were always supportive of each other. And I think that it needs to remain that way. And more needs to be put into talking with not just the people that currently live in Saxman, but the people that are going to be coming back out here. Due to housing is our lack of reason to be able to live out here. So if there was a house open, there would be so many of us moving right back. I know any one of you that have grown up out here and you have a place out here, you don't want to leave your house. This is your home. Saxman's our home. This is our happy place. And I just feel like it's really, really important that communication, especially finding out the same day. And I don't know how that happened, but it did, and I was very agitated. I just hope that we can come to a conclusion where the city hall is where it belongs, and stays where it belongs, and we have our home as it is, because little by little it will go. And our children need to be able to grow up the way we grow up and see what we've seen and hear the stories, not look at pictures of what was there and was let go. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, Christie. Sylvia?
I'll see, give my time to Nora.
Nora?
Thank you. Mayor and council members, I just heard about this today, and I certainly agree with the comments made about the need to open up to the community and letting the community know what's going on. I think that this council preaches transparency and the need to communicate, and I think that now is the time for you to get behind your words and provide that to the community. One of the things I would like to explain to you is that our ancestors, your people felt very strongly about the schoolhouse and about the property. The schoolhouse isn't the only thing, it's also the property. And there's a patent on both the schoolhouse and the property and the fire hall. And I'd like to read you some comments. The patent was issued on the following conditions: that the land and improvements hereby conveyed shall be used for school and other public purposes only. That the school facilities maintained thereon or therein shall be available to all the native children of the town of Saxman, Alaska, on the same terms as to the other children of the said town of Saxman, Alaska. That if any time the Secretary of Interior determines that the town of Saxman, Alaska has violated or failed to observe the provisions of said act of August 23rd, 1950 for a period of at least 1 year, the said lands and improvements covered therein shall revert to the United States. So I caution you, be very careful because there are processes that need to be followed. You can't just pass a resolution to sell the land and expect to sell the land. There are definitely processes, and I urge you to follow those processes and to pay the respect. You know, Indian people have rights, and Indian people can go to the Secretary of Interior and can complain because they are to be protected by the Secretary of Interior. So I just want to assure you that Saxman's majority is native. And when you talk about public purposes, it's public purposes, not private purposes. Cape Fox is a private corporation. Even though it's an Indian corporation, it's not a public corporation. Therefore, you're looking at selling land to a public corporation, and I mean to a for-profit corporation, and you're not keeping it to the public use as the patent has asked. I also would like to ask, with all due respect, that there are some people that have come in late that would like to make comments, if you would allow that. Thank you.
Thank you. At this time, is there anybody else that would like to speak? Sharon and then Teresa?
Thank you for the time. I didn't realize that's what people were doing, was signing up to talk. I too, a half hour before the scheduled meeting, had heard about this. And I'm speaking against Cape Fox buying this, against City of Saxman, giving them the land. It's beyond me how you have elders on here, you have young people. Are the young people checking into all this when it's offered to give away the land? My mother went to school down here, and her two brothers. My grandfather was Henry Denny. The Eshawn building you're talking about. We tried to talk to city, we tried talking to Cape Fox, we talked to many people trying to get money to rebuild that house. Nobody offered, except the Haida person that came and wanted to take over the land, saying he had rights because he was related to my grandfather. Things change, I realize that. They say we had all this land, a square mile was given to Saxman to protect the people, that the government could not come in and evict you. They could not come in and take away your land. Many of those people were given a lot of alcohol, taking off the bracelets and handing them to somebody. You couldn't sell the land, not the restricted area. You could pass it on through a will or something, but what gets me is we lost so much already. Where's our totem poles? There used to be a totem pole in front of that school. Here, there, out here, lined for parking are totem poles. People they don't care. They say, now that we're facing the schoolhouse being given away, people are speaking up. Why can't they do it more? For every time the totem pole is taken down. People don't care anymore. That's what my mother and my grandfather used to say, that it's gone. There was a time when something happened, a house burned down, people came and helped rebuild it. They didn't ask for money. can say, oh no, that's because your name is so-and-so and your name is so-and-so. We don't help you. Time has changed a lot. Don't keep giving things away. That schoolhouse right across the street was a town hall that people, I heard many people regretted it because the city said, oh, it's an old building, tear it down. And they did. And they tore the houses down that was next to it. And there was a Salvation Army. My grandfather's dad owned that property. And when the war broke out, he let the Salvation Army use the back room. It used to be a store. And he let them have it completely. The whole building he gave to the Salvation Army. The Salvation Army, there was no planning on where the city was going to build it. They were going to build it next to my house, where the creek runs right through there. It would never be warm. No parking space. Where are you going to park? Where are you going to have the Salvation Army park? Oh, we'll let the share the Pentecostal parking space right next door. And I don't know, the borough office came down, and I didn't even know they were there, and I said, you know, there's something wrong with this picture. You don't do that. That's like, I don't know, anybody that understands what I'm trying to say will agree with me. You don't infringe on somebody else, say, oh, you got a big parking lot, so I want 10 spaces. And nobody considered that when they were going to move the Salvation Army Church there. Then they found another place, which didn't cause me a lot of bad feelings, I mean, on the behalf of the people up that far. But my mom and my dad and my two uncles went to school there. At that particular time, the school teachers held a higher esteem than the mayor, or council members, or your neighbor, your uncle. They commanded so much and a high respect. Their word was the law. You can't do this. They changed the names of the people. They said, your name's going to be Jane Smith. You're Tom Jones. Something like that. Something that where they can speak the language and spell it. That's how we got Joe Williams, Woody, DeWitts. That's how we got them. We were born to have them. Nobody can really say what the language was. The school had so much the teachers are the ones that came and said, your name is going to be so. I don't like your name. So you're going to be called this and that and whatever. And that's how people got their names. That happened down here. That's where we lost our Indian names, our family names was in that school. That was the beginning of they say Black Lives Matter. I say Indians matter too. But we didn't have anybody to stand up for us then. Now we do. We have just a few things left out here. You know, it's important to keep your identity. We don't have identity, really. People, they say, what is Saxman? Is that an Indian village? Is that a city? What is it? And it's embarrassing. You know, what are we? We had to ask, sometimes they'd say, oh, Saxman Village. And they still use, say it. But we have so little left. I'm thankful for the house I have. I am very thankful. I had 5 kids to worry about. Maybe I never made Mother of the Year, but I loved them. I had a safe place for them. And who knows what else is going to come along 20 years from now. Maybe you people, young people, will be standing here saying, no, no, don't give that land away. People, Nora read something that was interesting, saying there's some kind of resolution. When the government gave us that 1 mile, we don't own 1 mile of this town. Further up here, they have, who has it? Mental health. How does we used to have a burial ground across the bay there on Pennick. That was ours. That's where our chief and our family were buried. And who owns it now? Mental health.
No, the borough.
Huh?
BLM, Borough of Land Management.
Well, it was under, it wasn't that protected. They had people robbing the graves and everything. We had no say-so. And yes, to have our people, you young people, remember today. Remember, stand up for us. I'm so freaking old that I can't even walk here. I had to catch a ride to come here. Because I love Saxman. We cried too when our grandpa's house caught on fire. Then we got a small grant to fix the bottom part. Nobody, no city of Saxman, no K-Fox corporation offered to help us with 1 penny. Not 1 freaking penny. And you go, Sean is all of you. And you're going to do that when that schoolhouse is gone, when you realize how important that schoolhouse is to us. It held many, many things, yes. I don't know how long you guys have known, long enough to do a resolution, long enough to form a meeting. Why couldn't you let the city of Saxman know? Why? Why wasn't that public information? Why do we have to hear it from somebody walking down the street? You leave us unprepared to talk. I'm dead. I'm against it. And I hear things about a store. Is that what you want to do? Build a store out here? I mean, most of you people live down south already. 20 miles to go someplace, to go to a show or something like that. And then you speak, oh, they have to go all the way to Safeway. You know, people laugh at that. It's nothing. Now, I don't know about that store, having a big store out here. I don't know anything about it. I don't know the pros and cons. I don't know if I'm for it or against it. I am against the schoolhouse being. I have my grandfather's house is on restricted property. The city here tried to do away, they tried to go and condemn my grandpa's house when it was still standing, condemn it. 5 places out here they wanted to condemn. My grandfather was top. instead of saying, how can we help you? They say, condemn it, condemn it. Then what are they gonna do with it? It's still not theirs, it's still private property. I think we need to have a meeting and find out what restricted deed means. That's, who's your name?
Gabriella Daniels.
Yeah, you're June Swinks. Yeah, that property next to you is restricted deed. And I have fought against anything from our government turning that into a regular land to sell. Jim Swink wanted to buy that land. He wanted to build a house next to his brother, and he was denied. No, it's restricted. Just a couple of years ago, I was talking to somebody at the borough. That office, that space now belongs to the city of Saxman, who gave it to the Saxman IRA. That's not right. There's somebody who owns that land. They probably don't even know it's a restricted area. And they say, oh, it was done away with a long time ago. Well, I said, show me the paper. Nobody can show me the paper where the government decided to get rid of restricted deeds. That was a forever promise from the government that we would own it. And now, I don't even know about that land down here. Isn't that restricted deed? Does anybody know? The schoolhouse.
No.
See, who changed it? It was at one time restricted. So who makes those decisions?
Clinton Haida Central Council, the Land Management Department.
Clinton Haida is just an organization, just like anything else you for. They make resolution. Did they have a meeting with the people here? So when did they do away with you only? That's a bunch of crock. Anyway, that's how I feel. I'm sorry for the time, but again, I'm not, because it's something I've been wanting to say for a long time. We need to get that cleared out. Our land is being given away, taken away, and no proof. I don't care. 3 people, supposedly for us, for the natives, said, oh, long time ago, they said, no, you don't have restricted deed no more under that contract. I think they're wrong. We need to find out. You guys are all responsible. You should know. You should know how to find that out and help protect all the very few properties left. So that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Teresa, then Trudy.
Thank you, Your Honor. Council members, reading today, like others, it really saddens my heart and it discourages. When you guys are placed in a position of knowledge and respect, you're there for a purpose. You're there to represent our people, not just those in the room and the village, but your ancestors. Hearing previous speakers, it took a lot for our people to dig their way up where they came from, to get educated, to gather trust, to work together, or as a word a lot of us say is, wish to eat, pull yourself together. There's an old saying a lot of people refer to, before you know where you go, you have to know where you came from. And that will give you strength. And it'll give you knowledge and guidance. And as you hear, we always mention the elders on the walls. Those are the ones that fight for where you sit. Not in an angry, negative manner, but positive, thinking this is for my future. My grandfather, Forrest DeWitt Sr., used to say, what you do now is not only for your ancestors, but for your grandchildren that have not been born yet. When you think about the schoolhouse, my Uncle Charles used to take care of elders there. The city hall used to be there. The co-op used to be there. We used to have sewing time there with the home league members. We used to have fundraisers there, coffee time there. That building held a lot of us together, not just for Saxman, but for Ketchikan. Metlakatla used to come over with the home league and with the dance group, and the elders, they used to open up the doors as a gathering place. It's an important place, not just for a building, but for the history it holds. Saying when our ancestors moved here to Saxman, before they even named it Saxman, they were working together. And that was a focal point. It was so important to get that building to have a point to continue to grow, to strive forward. And when you look at this paper on the agenda, the way it's wording, honestly, it just makes my heart still just very sad and upset, thinking, how can it get this far? How can this notion of destroying a building, selling a property, not knowing the history of the belonging and who owns it, but where is it going from here? What are your grandchildren going to be able to hold on to? Is it going to be public property everywhere, or is it still going to have a stronghold here? And as a lot of us were totally against it, we need to hold strong and continue to pull ourselves together. And I'd like to encourage you to continue to do that, but through a notion that has been made well over a decade ago. Is one example that always holds strong in my heart is to hang on to what you have. But Irene mentioned repatriation. There's items that came out, and I know a lot of the entities here has on the back burner a form of a museum. Why hasn't that not been brought to the table? But yet you're ready to take on an area that could be turned into a museum. It could turn into a visiting place. Why has it not been a historical site to begin with 5 years ago, 10 years ago? What steps does it need to take to get there? It sounds like there needs to be a lot more research that has to be done even before this should even hit public notice. There needs to be questions that's answered on lawfully, what can we do without breaking the law? How can we safeguard for their future and currently? And a lot of people say, what I keep hearing every time I bring up the word museum is that, well, it's not important right now, it's on the back burner. But it has to be on the front burner. It has to be here so our grandchildren can know where we come from. So that way the people that have the knowledge now, that has possessions of the knowledge, could share what's there. If you put $1 in a safe, you could never use it. It could never be spent to share with what you need. So when you put artifacts in a building, in a safe, it might as well be burned in a fire. It's not going to bring no strength for our people. So when you look at putting that agenda item on the front burner, it is possible. So right now, the main thing I want to push toward you is pull together. You have 3 entities here in Saxman. You got the city of Saxman, you got KFOX, and you got Organized Village of Saxman. And all of them have the advantages to pull together. There's no excuse for it. Where there is a will, there's a way. And when we say for the long run, it's going to take a long time. It's going to take a lot of energy. But look where our ancestors came from. They came from a village from nothing. They came here, they went through a lot of discrimination, a lot of saying, you can't do that. No, you can't do this. No, you're worth nothing. But you know what? We are worth something. Put that agenda for item now. Pull the 3 entities together, because it's just not the entities, but you're working for our village. Our people voted you in these positions because we believe in you. We believe you have the leadership. And right now we just continue to pray that the leadership will guide to a better future for our grandchildren, so we can keep pushing forward and make our ancestors happy. So I know one day when it's going to come, when I'm laid to rest, I know that my children and their grandchildren will have a future to say, you know what, I know how my grandparents came here. I know there's a museum I could go to for knowledge, a library I could go to. And hopefully someday you guys will be able to pull together really soon, because if this agenda item is able to hit public, why can't the museum or a public library be brought together where somebody could come and learn? So it could be opened up so they could bring strength to themselves. With all this negativity in the world, We need to find places that come together for strength, whether it be digitalizing a building or whether it be on site. So we could go there and gather knowledge. We could gather strength to encourage each other in a positive manner. Thank you.
Thank you. Trudy?
My name's Trudy Swink. This August 10th, I'll be a resident of Saxman for 50 years. My parents come from different communities, but we were born and raised in Ketchikan and Saxman. My parents were born in Ketchikan and raised their children in Saxman. It's great that we're all under one roof. Our clan leaders, OVS, City of Saxman, and Cape Fox. This is a long time coming. But has anyone gone to their meetings? Do you know how COVID hit the city of Saxman? Do you know that they're laying off people because they don't have the revenue to pay their employees, which is less than 10 employees? I was sitting in these chairs when you came to us. I know the city of Saxman pays you so much to service us, this community. Are you putting that back into your fire hall to make it up to code and the molding ink there for the building to not be standing in 5 years? There's a lot being said. I mean, when was the last time anyone walked into the old schoolhouse? I'm looking at it as their point of view as revenue to the community. Because what the current renter is paying $1 a year. $1 a year. That was my first job, was in City Hall. I worked under Nora. I was 14 years old, was in there filing papers for the city of Saxman under the youth program. My very first job was in that schoolhouse. But COVID, I never in my lifetime thought I'd be living through a pandemic. I never thought I'd be living through a drought in the city of Ketchikan, in the city of Saxman, trying to figure out how to get water to our residents, paying $800 electricity bills because we're running off of generators. They're hearing the people's cries that they need help with their bills. So, I mean, I have mixed emotions because it's going to cause or create how many more jobs for the future, you know, and I could see where the history is there to a certain point, because in the 50 years that I've been there, it's only been City Hall and OVS and a couple of dance practice. Oh, AMBA&S uses it for dyeing eggs sometimes. So to me, it's like all of us. I got a car parked out in front of my house that's been broken down for almost 12 months now. I haven't gotten rid of it. Why? I don't know. What's it doing to me? What's it benefiting me? What is that building benefiting the city of Saxman, the people? So,
Excuse me, we were quiet. Can you please be quiet and respectful? Nobody talked when you guys were talking. Thank you.
So, I would like to thank the city of Saxman taking your CARES Act money and putting it into our community. I'd like to thank Cape Fox for going door to door with food bags. I want to thank KIC for helping us Saxman people when they could during these COVID times. OVS, you need to step up to the plate.
So thank you guys. I know you guys have a lot, but in 20 years, are we gonna have managers in there? Yes. Are our children, grandchildren gonna be working in that store? Yes. In 20 years, if it still stays a school building, how much more are you guys gonna invest in it? And I like Teresa's idea. If you could find a bigger renter that will pay you more money, turn it into a museum. Thank you.
Thank you, Trudy. Joe?
Thank you, Your Honor. Council members, IRA Council, Fox Corporation. My name is Joe Williams. My real name is Kakish Kat. I was born and raised in this community of Saxman. Actually born in Ketchikan, raised in Saxman. The reason I wasn't born here, there wasn't a hospital. Closest hospital was in Ketchikan. I addressed the council about the sale of this property at the last meeting, and I said, I have mixed emotions. I have mixed emotions because I remember as a young boy standing at that blackboard, drawn as a little boy of 3-4 years of age. So when I think about the terms, and then my sister telling me stories of them attending that school, my younger sister Jackie telling stories of going to that school, I struggled with it. Please know I still struggle with it. But also remember Jonathan DeWitt, years ago in the 70s, we're gonna tear that schoolhouse down. It's gonna cost too much money to replace. Jonathan DeWitt told my dad, let me look at it. He did. He said, there's nothing wrong with that building. We can fix it. I can fix it. So he did. So it stands today, and keep in mind, 35 years ago or more, it could have been gone. Just because we didn't have the money to repair it. And that's the issue today before us. We don't have money to repair things. We don't have money to plow snow in our streets. And yet here's a company that is wanting to spend several $1 million so that we can have funds to be able to do that through taxation of the sales. Please understand, ladies and gentlemen, I struggle with any kind of movement of that schoolhouse. Because when you move that schoolhouse, there's change. Whenever you address change, I promise you, ladies and gentlemen, there is pain in change. One side is not going to like it because that's the way it's always been since I was little. The other side is going to say, you really need to do that because it's an employment. I remember my dad telling us at our kitchen table of how we got to this location. So yes, there's a lot of history here. But Council, City Council, I appreciate this opportunity which you opened up to everyone that is in attendance here to come and give freely what's on their heart. You're living up to your promise. You're making it public. And keep in mind, ladies and gentlemen, the decision I don't think will be made tonight. I think this is part of that process. But keep in mind, I struggle with the change, but also struggle with the lack of money in our community. I was mayor of the city of Saxman for 6 years, so I know, been a council member for 12, so I know the lack of funds. We tried to tax the properties. That didn't work well. So I I first want to say thank you to Cape Fox Corporation for you having the ingenuity to think up, say, how can we employ our shareholders? How can we employ the residents of Saxman? The best thing that happened to Saxman, in my estimation, is that Billy Tatsuda said, no, we're not gonna build. Aha! There's a good opportunity. And I want you to know, I enjoyed going to Tatsuda's to get something that I absolutely needed to cook for or to eat. Last minute things, go there. We don't have that privilege. 10 miles round trip, 30 minutes. Just the way it is. And that's not even counting the gas. Okay? So I encourage you, council members, to have additional public meetings like tonight, so that those that are unable to be here tonight will have that opportunity. You've heard from residents in this community. Take that flyer door to door. I recognize that we are in the time of a simple click, poof, there it goes, and that is in the internet. Well, not everyone has it, but everyone has a door that they can pull something off of. Announcement. So I want you to know, because oftentimes, just thinking about the Roberts rules, you either for it or you against it, and you gotta let people know. I presently am for it. I think it's a good deal because it employs people within the community of Saxman. Money comes to the community of Saxman. Yes, it isn't a whole lot, but you know what? It's a whole lot more than what we're getting right now. I'm not in favor of demolishing that building. I'm in favor of moving it, perhaps. But we can massage this, or this could be massaged a lot more to get a happy medium. This is where we can go. So I want to say once again to those of you who are opposing this sale, thank you so much for voicing, especially a younger generation that have trouble speaking. I remember as a young person attending Alaska Native Brotherhood meetings, and we would take a look at the speaker, and we would judge our speaker by the color of his hair. His hair was really white, like mine is. I want you folks to know that you're in for a long speech from me, okay? I was told that I had 3 minutes, and I just took 45 seconds of that 3 minutes. I want to say I want to thank each council member who stepped up to the plate to do this, because what you're about to decide will be the future of this community, will be the future of our children, will be the future of our grandchildren and great-grandchildren. So, you have a lot on your plate, and I admire you for stepping up to that plate. So, I want to say thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. Sylvia?
Most everybody here knows who I am. I'm Sylvia Bainey. I was born and raised on this island. Saxman has been my lifetime home here. I have my father's home that he built. It's basically the last oldest house that's livable in Saxman. When we sit there and we start talking about our heritage and we start talking about where we come from, we know where we come from. We come from Cape Fox. We come from Tongass Island. We come from Metlakatla. We come from people from Cape and Yakutat and wherever else. This is a native village and it needs to stay one. Doesn't need we have to go, oh, well, this is Simpsian or this is Tlingit and this is Haida and this is, another place
even if it's Haida or Tlingit. We can't think that way. We have to think as Native people, because all Native people are being attacked on everything. And I hate to see our own Native people attacking their own people, because that's how I feel. I feel like I'm being attacked. My grandmother also went to school in that schoolhouse, and it made a lot more, and she taught me a lot more because of it. She taught me things that I probably never would have known if they hadn't moved here to Saxman and have that house, that schoolhouse. It's important to those people. It's important to these people here. It's the last thing we've got. The Kashake house is not there anymore. It's down. And that's really hurtful. My Uncle Henry lived in there. He was basically the last chief of Saxman, because he didn't live long enough to give the chieftain to another person. This is all stuff that you would never learn by taking that down. All these pictures on the wall, every one of those people on that wall, not just one family or two families, there's a lot of family on that. And they put behind a lot of things to preserve our culture. Are we willing to give up all our culture? I hope not. Yeah, I'm good for having a market for Cape Fox, but let's find a different place for them. Not right down there, right where it's going to be, oh, here's Totem Row, and what do you got? This great big huge supermarket. Let's put it somewhere else. You got land back here, you got land everywhere around here. Why can't you do that? Use that land instead of taking something that's really important to the people here. At least to me, and from what I hear right now, it's to a lot more people. And most of these people haven't heard anything about this. I got it at the last minute. So I didn't really get time to prepare for any of this and to know exactly what was happening, and I would like to know if the council reached out to the tribe. If you're willing to sell this and go into negotiations with Cape Fox, how come you didn't ask the tribe? Question. Why not? Maybe the tribe couldn't afford it or something, and Cape Fox could probably outbid us or something, but, why not? If you needed to get rid of it to get money, because that's what it sounds like, because Cape Fox could get land anywhere they want. They could buy Tatsuda's lot up there and put a big supermarket. It's already said, all they gotta do is build a building. Got everything there. They're not gonna rebuild. They're gonna sell it. So what's the negotiations that might not, I'd love to see it in Saxman, but not there. I'm not against having it, I just don't want it there. I want that schoolhouse to stay right where it is, where it's been there for over 100 years. And I think that's something that the last thing that this council, this city, this tribe can do to keep their heritage going. Because you don't got anything else. And like everybody else said, we got all the ones over here that spoke. Why not, if you don't want to sell it, put a museum there instead. If that's what you do something that's going to give our people that come down the pike 50 years from now when we're not here to know their heritage. Don't take it away. Thank you. Thank you all.
Would anybody else like to speak? Would anybody else like to speak? Okay, we'll be moving on. Public comment is now closed. Did you need a break now?
Yeah, if it's okay.
We'll take a 3-minute recess. She's gotta fix something. So we'll take a 3-minute recess.
Let's go see.
There you go, man.
Whatever they decide. What they decide.
Oh,
I saw the garbage in our neighbors. Take the garbage and go back behind their yard and leave it. It must be starting. Well, now, I know.
Got election tomorrow.
Yeah, you have the bear wash. Bear will wash.
Say that again. Oh, yeah. Saxman Elder. Officially an elder now, I guess. Been out for years.
They still scare me. They stay away. They scare the crap out of me. Like, it's terrible. I know. I don't like the wash.
I don't know.
Hey, Tiger, how's it going?
Yeah, there was one around the corner and I took out. They don't
Only look at the right thing to do. You can say it. As you mean.
The girls always go to tickets and then but after all this now, it's so God, he's Department interior now.
It's just gonna be that one item. The rest of it. All these people showed up.
This is Teresa's son. That's good advice. What is that? The youngest? The guest that comes in. Or the oldest? The only son. Only son, okay. Well, oh, okay. I knew there was another one. Well, I can't.
Very scared about trying to do most people have seen since we had
So we'll call the meeting back to order.
Yeah, I think that's good.
No, we definitely take concerns to heart, and that's why we all options.
So we're going back up to the issue. So we're on to consideration of the agenda.
Have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? There's no discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. Motion passes. Yes?
Can you please have the council member repeat his motion? We didn't get the text.
Motion to approve the consent agenda?
That's, you're on consideration of the agenda. I just wanted to make sure the council member made the motion he was intending to make.
Oh. Okay, sorry, that was out of order. We need to, accept the agenda.
Motion to accept the agenda?
It's been moved and seconded to accept the agenda. Discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. Motion passes. All right, now moving on to the consent agenda.
Motion to approve the consent agenda?
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion on the consent agenda? Question recalled. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. Motion passes. I kind of overlooked something. I wanted to move the executive session up before new business. Is that where we would go? To talk about the new business item 5.
It's in the agenda, so as far as the clerk understands, as if there's a motion made with specifics as to what they want to discuss in executive session, then the council member, or the chair, has the ability to call a vote for the executive session.
What I'd like to do is have the executive session before new business item 5. Before that. So that's what I'd like to do.
If I may. These are the ordinances. And if you would like, I can pass this to the vice mayor.
I mean, is that what we want to do? That's what we want to do.
Is the motion to be made by the chair?
No.
All right, I make a motion to go into executive session to discuss item number 5 under new business, Cape Fox land sale.
You've heard the motion? Been seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, say nay. We'll go enter into executive session at 7:08.
If you could give the clerk an ad ease to clear the room.
So we'll stand at ease until everybody clears. You can wait outside or wait in the other room.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, if you guys want to wait down on, oh, they're done already. I can turn on the lights down here for those of you who'd like to wait inside. Or if you enjoy the sign, you can wait over there.
What's that? Yes. So, but we're going into executive session. You can step outside or you can go wait in the other room.
Mr. Mayor,
Yeah.
for the record, will you please name the persons that you're having stay as their matters that may concern them?
The people eligible to
Does somebody
stay,
want a baby sippy cup?
Andrew,
There's a baby sippy cup
Huh?
left in here. Does somebody need that?
you want to spell that?
Leibia.
Tiger
Johnson.
Johnson, Tim Lewis, Michelle Lewis, Richard Shields. Clifford Blair.
I might have locked him out. Was he coming back?
He's right here in the hallway. I don't think he's tried yet.
Okay. Little levity, huh? Oh, wait. Oh, thank you. Okay.
So